Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to talk about my January wrap up for all the books that I read in January, which it feels like I didn't really read that many. If you are my friend on Goodreads, you've probably seen me start so many books. I'll put my link to my profile below in case you want to follow me or be friends with me. But it's been quite interesting because I feel like I've never been reading this many books at once before. If you guys have clicked on my videos before, welcome back. If you are new, my name is Summer. I talk about books, I talk about e-readers. As you can see, I've got two with me right here. And I just in general talk about reading and everything having to do with books. So thank you so much for clicking on this video, and please give this video a thumbs up because it helps me reach more people that have the same interests. And also I love getting to talk to you guys, so please leave me a comment and let me know if you have read any of these, what your thoughts are, and what you are reading this month. Because I'm also going to talk about my February reads that I have started or hope to read as well. So do a little wrap up and then we'll talk about February reads. And I did have to pull up my Goodreads because it feels like the only book that I read this month is Onyx Storm. I don't know why, which I do have an Onyx Storm vlog coming. So Onyx Storm is going to have its very, very own vlog that I still need to finish my thoughts on, to be quite honest with you. But let's just go ahead and let's start with Onyx Storm. So let me put some of these other books to the side so we can talk about that. And then we'll talk about my February TBR as well. So Onyx Storm. This book was insane. It was hard for the first few chapters because I did not do a fourth wing. This is, by the way, this is the third book in the fourth wing series. I think there are going to be 5. And so it goes fourth wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm. And I always, for some reason, want to say Onyx Flame or Iron Storm or something like that. I don't know why I mix them up. But anyway, this one is my favorite. It was a little bit confusing at the beginning because I didn't do a reread. But now that I've read the entire book, I'm wondering if there's a reason why it was supposed to be confusing to us. So we'll see. And again, this one has its very own spoiler-free reading vlog that's coming. But then I think at the end of that one, I'm going to put my full thoughts with theories, things that I think are going to happen, predictions, all that kind of a thing. So make sure you're subscribed to see that. But this one is my very favorite one. This is really where we got to see a lot of the characters transform. We're left on another cliffhanger, but I thoroughly enjoyed this and I will be doing a reread for sure of this one because I just felt like we got such a good depth of character in so many different things. And it really reminded me of the Odyssey. Like, yes, the Odyssey, the Homer Odyssey. Is there another one? I don't know, but I don't know why I said it like that. But the journey that we took on this book, I felt like you might need some of these literary references, and she left a lot of like Easter eggs. It was very Taylor Swift-ish, where like you really have to read between the lines and look for different clues in different places. So that's why I think a reread is going to be necessary of this one. And I did have a vlog about this where my sister and I fought so hard to make sure I got the Target edition of this book, and it is gorgeous. It really, really is. So I'm so excited to have this version of it, and it looks a little different than the regular one, but this will be its own thing. This one is part of my all-time favorites, all-time favorite books ever, my God tier books, which I am going to do a whole video on that, by the way. So let me know if you'd be interested in hearing about my all-time favorite books ever, as well as somebody asked me if I could do my favorite sprayed edges. So if you're interested in seeing that, let me know. If you have any video ideas, let me know in the comments. Somebody was also saying they wanted Mara, one of my best friends that you guys see in a lot of the vlogs, wanted Mara to like wrap up some of my books and then have me unwrap them and have that be how I chose my monthly TBR for my physical TBR. So we might do that too. We'll have to ask Mara if she's willing to help, so that way I don't know the books ahead of time and see what's going on with that. So Onyx Storm was definitely a 6-star book for me. I loved it. It was my favorite one in the series, but you did have to get past a certain point. Like there was a point you had to get past with the world building. It was kind of like Crescent City. Crescent City, like the first 5 chapters or 100 pages of Crescent City, it's like, I have no idea because your brain can't go back. That's the thing, is I feel like if I tried to go back and read it, it would all make sense because I know the story. But as you're getting the world building, there's so much. And also the narrator for Onyx Storm, if you are a person that just listened to the audiobook, the narrator is not my favorite. This one I really had to read on my own most of the time because I don't love the narrator for all 3 books. The dramatic audio is really good, like the graphic audio, the performance, but they don't have that out yet for this one. So let me know what you guys think, and I will have a whole vlog for Onyx Storm. So theoretically, the first book that I finished this year was the Starlight Heir by Amelie Howard. And this one, this cover is gorgeous, which is why I pulled it up on the colorsoft. And this one was very interesting. I gave it a 4-star. It was really, I think if I'm being really strict, it was like a 3.5. The first few chapters, I loved it. I was truly sucked in. And then something happened where I just felt like I got lost in the plot. The characters, like things weren't making sense. Their decisions weren't making sense. And it felt really just immature to me. I think it's supposed to be somewhere between YA and new adult, but it was hard to tell what that line was. And there were some really mature things that happened in here too. Just made me feel a little bit confused about what age group this was for. And I felt like this had so much potential. It had a lot of magic that was really unique, and it was based in a lot of like Indian and Middle Eastern mythology, I guess you could say. And so I really loved that aspect of it because I felt like that was something I haven't come across as much, but I just didn't love the delivery. And then it set it up completely for a different sort of sequel. And I don't know that I'll read the sequel, but I feel like I hate it when books are just a setup for the sequel, if that makes sense. Like the whole first book is just a prologue, and then it completely flips it around in the second book, but you need the first book to get to the second book. Does that make sense? Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. But I didn't love it so much. I wanted to love it so much though, but I just didn't. So this one, we'll see. I liked the writing. I felt like I was really drawn in at the beginning, but then it just didn't quite finish as strong as I would have liked. There were some twists that I didn't really feel like were twists, which I hate to say that. I really hate to say that. Next one I don't have downloaded on my Kindle right now, but let me turn up the brightness. This one was The Housemaid's Wedding. It's a short story that goes in between books 2 and 3 of the Housemaid series. And I read this in one sitting on my members only live in December, I think, or like the very beginning of January. It had to be January. So this was the first book that I read on a live. I read it all in one sitting. It was really good. It's just kind of explained a little bit about some time that was missing in between books 2 and 3. So this one I think I gave 4.5 stars to. It was really good. I didn't obviously love it as much as the other ones, but that's because it was really short and it was hard to build that detail. But if you've read the rest of the books in the Housemaid series, I highly recommend it. The next one that I read was Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey, and this one is out now. This was an ARC when I read it at the time, and it is kind of a little hockey romance, but it has a twist because they are not related, but they're connected in a way that they weren't expecting, and it just kind of spirals from there, and it's honestly really funny and really cute. I gave this one 4 stars, I think. Like, I really liked it. It was a quick, easy read. So if you're just looking for a quick romance that has some hockey elements, some like stepbrother almost, but not in a creepy way, and they had to figure out like what was going on because their parents were actually engaged if they didn't know. So it was just, there was a lot of family drama, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I did enjoy it. It was really good. Just kind of a good little romance. I then read Accidentally Amy, which I gave 4.5 stars to. I really love this one. This one's by Lynn Painter, and I love Lynn Painter's humor. This one is where this girl picks up a coffee that's not hers because she's trying to not be late for her new job and accidentally runs into her new boss that she doesn't know is her new boss, and he catches her in that lie, and then it all spirals from there. So this one kind of reminded me a little bit of Confessions of a Shopaholic, if you remember that movie from the early 2000s, but this one was really good. Again, just a really nice romance. I read this one really quickly as well, and I fully enjoyed it. So this one is out now, and I highly recommend this one, even over Dream Girl Drama. This one was my favorite romance that I read in January. So I read a couple of other ones that I'm not going to talk about just because I didn't love them very much, but you can go check them out on Goodreads if you want. You can see my review. But I felt like this one was highly involved in the 5-star read vlog that you guys are going to see. I made like this vlog ends when I find a 5-star read, and it is the longest vlog ever, so get excited for that. And make sure you're subscribed because it just kept going. Like it kept going, and it went on for like 3 or 4 weeks because I was still looking for a 5-star read. So one of the books that I talked about a lot in there was A Study in Drowning, and its sequel, A Theory in Dreaming, which comes out later this year. So I had the ARC for the second one because I just assumed that I was going to love this one. And what I've learned about NetGalley is that I need to not request things as much because I need to make sure that I don't get just too excited and then request way too many books, especially sequels that I haven't read the original. But this sounded like it was right up my alley. It was like dark academia, a little bit of fantasy, some mythology. I thought this was going to be absolutely perfect, but I just wasn't in love with it. Ava Reed's writing is really atmospheric. It was kind of this like gothic, dark, mythical. I almost felt like it was like, I don't know, it's just such a hard place to describe, but it felt almost like Great Britain or just somewhere really atmospheric, but it was hard to tell the time period that it was set in. And there was this girl named Effie who had the same last name as me, so it was kind of funny when I was reading. But she was trying to solve a mystery about her favorite author. Sorry, there are a bunch of planes landing also right now, so if you can hear a bunch of planes in the background, hopefully my mic is blocking them out, but if you hear planes, there's just a bunch of planes that have decided to land while I do this video. So anyway, she's trying to understand what happened to one of her very favorite authors, and she really idolizes him, and women aren't allowed to study reading at the college she goes to or just in general. So she kind of teams up with this guy, Preston, and they have to solve this mystery together. There's obviously some romance, and there is a twist that's kind of predictable, I guess I will say, that you get to at the end of this one. And then the second one, A Theory in Dreaming, was actually, I think, much better. I got through it really quickly, whereas this one took me forever, and I soft DNF'd it for a little while. A Theory in Dreaming actually was one of those books that flipped the script, but it was in a good way and just kind of continued the story from here, but it was kind of where we needed to go with this one originally. So I gave both of them 4 stars, I believe, on Goodreads. So they were interesting. I enjoyed them, but they weren't my favorite. Those were my January books that I read. And like I said, I read a couple more, but I'm not really going to talk about them because I wasn't obsessed. The book that I was truly obsessed with this month was Onyx Storm. And that's why it kind of feels like it was the only book that I read, but it wasn't. So let's talk about my February TBR because I'm really excited for some books that I have coming up and books that I'm going to read. So first of all, just recently came out is Deep End by Hazelwood. I really love her, and this cover just looks so vibrant on the colorsoft, so I am excited to read this one. I did a little vlog at a brand new Barnes & Noble, and I grabbed Heavenly Bodies, and this one has really pretty purple pages. It just looked like it was really good. And this one is kind of a fantasy that has to do with the celestial bodies, as that's why it's called Heavenly Bodies. So I'm really excited to read this one, and I might do a vlog where I read only physical books for a week or something like that, because I'm just such a Kindle person that I haven't been reading physical books, but I've really been enjoying physical books lately. So I might do that because I was able to get Rebel Witch a little bit early. You can see I've got my book light in here and everything, so I'll take this out so it looks a little more aesthetic. But I have been reading Rebel Witch, and I just got this 2 days ago, and I'm already, I think, about 200 pages in. I really need to get a bookmark so I don't bend my little dust jacket here. But Rebel Witch is the sequel to Heartless Hunter. So this is what I'm currently reading, and I am flying through this, and I don't have the Kindle copy for this, but I'm loving reading this, and it's even a hardcover. And I've talked about how I'm really a paperback person, but I'm reading a hardcover, so this has changed the game for me a little bit. So I'm loving Rebel Witch so far. I'm so excited, but then I'm gonna have to wait for book 3, so I'm trying to savor this one as well. So still reading Rebel Witch. I got this book in the mail yesterday from Bailey Thomas called You Should Have Just Let Me Go, and this one looks like this is a romance, but it's kind of a bit of a twist because it's like, should this romance continue or not? So I feel like it's a bit different, but I'm really excited to read this one. This one's on Kindle Unlimited, by the way. And then I also want to read Summer in the City. So I've got these 3 that are physical copies, and this one got a little bit bent in the mail, but that's okay. So this one is by Alex Aster, and it comes out in April, I believe. So this one I really am excited to read as well. So that's why I was like, maybe I should do a reading only physical books on my TBR for a week as a vlog. So there's that one. This one is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous color, and I'm just so excited to read it because I love Alex Aster, and it was really nice of her to send that to me. So that's what I've got as far as physical books. I'm also currently reading The Outcast Mage, which is about this girl who is supposed to have magic, and they can detect magic in her, the people who are supposed to be able to detect magic. But when she tries to actually use her magic, it doesn't work. So she's kind of an outcast, and they're kind of exiling her. So this one's just taking me a bit to get through, but I'm enjoying it, and I still want to finish it. But it was hard. This one was the first one that I picked up after Onyx Storm. So it was just one of those things where I feel like I'm still stuck in Onyx Storm. I also have The Mortal Queen, which comes out on February 14th. So I need to try and read this one pretty quickly as well, because this one sounds pretty amazing and is also a fantasy. But obviously I requested all these fantasy books right after Onyx Storm, which is just so hard, I think. So I've been kind of turning to the romance ones. And this one I think has been curing me. Rebel Witch is kind of a romance plus fantasy at the same time. So that one's really been helping quite a bit. This one almost, again, reminds me of like Pirates of the Caribbean, or even like a scene that I just read last night kind of reminded me of some scenes in Titanic. So it's hard to tell. This one just has an interesting time period. And I also really want to read The Crash by Frida McFadden. I've actually heard some mixed reviews on this one. Normally Frida is just like an auto by author for me, but I've heard some mixed reviews on this one. So I don't know, we'll see what I think about Frida's newest book. And then I also really want to read this thriller called I Did Warn Her. And this one is like a below deck type of novel. If you can see, it's hard to tell on this cover, but there's like a porthole right here with a little chain, it looks like. So this one was recommended to fans of Below Deck, but it's kind of a thriller. So I'm hoping I can get to this one and a few more NetGalleys. So those are my February hopefuls, but please let me know which ones you are most excited to read yourself, or maybe to see my opinions on. And then also let me know if you want me to do one of these reading only physical books for a week. And then I will keep you all updated on Rebel Witch as well. I have so many highlights in here that I wish I could show you, but I don't want to spoil it. So we will talk about that one at the end of my February. Oh, that's kind of cute. These match, my nails match the book. So at the end of February, I will definitely have thoughts on this one for you. If you want to see me read Heartless Hunter, the cabin vlog from last year, like literally 1 year ago in February is when I was reading Heartless Hunter. So you can watch that one. And then obviously now I'm almost halfway through this one, but trying to savor it. So I'll keep you all updated on the different books that I have. And so I have the Onyx Storm vlog coming out. I have This Book Ends When I Find a 5-Star Read. And then I've got a couple of other videos that I've got kind of going on in the background. So there's a lot moving around, and I'm trying to get the vlogs out as quickly as I can. Work has been busy, and I don't know how I did Vlogmas in December, even just partially, because that was just so much. But I am trying to be less of a perfectionist and just get these videos up for you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a like, subscribe to come back for more, and please leave me a comment to let me know what you are reading in February, or if you have read any of these or are excited to read them. So I will see you in the next one, and have a great day. Bye guys.